Take your mind into the wonderful world of physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual wellness. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kinetic Hour. Conversations with you and guests. With your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. That's me. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Kinetic Hour. I am your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. Welcome one, welcome all once again, as the weather has finally kind of let up here and the sun is actually shining today here in Southern California. So that's always a good thing, even though the rain has been needed here. There's been floods and all kind of stuff everywhere. But the sun is out today, which is a great thing. Once again, welcome to the Kinetic Hour. Make sure you always subscribe because there's always two YouTube channels. One is right here, the Kinetic Hour, and that is Kinetic, K-E-N-N-E-T-I-C, Kinetic, the Kinetic Hour. And my other YouTube channel is Kinetic Fit and Wellness Info, Kinetic Fit and Wellness Info at Kinetic Fit. For those that want information about health matters, whether it's physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, go to that channel and there's a ton of information. I need to post some more stuff, some new stuff up related to health. A lot of things going on in the health realm or field, as I've discussed over the last couple of episodes, cancer being the biggest one. But this week, because we're still celebrating Black History Month, I'm going to once again read from this great book here. Last episode, I highlighted two great people, one being Dr. Jewel Plummer Cobb, Dr. Jewel Plummer Cobb, and also Dr. George Washington Carver, Dr. George Washington Carver. And so I highlighted both of them, and they are great. And you can always go back and take a look at that episode, parts 1 and part 2, highlighting those two great people. I'm going to highlight two new great people this week on the Kinetic Hour as I'm looking through this book here. And again, I'll hold it up. It's called Book of Black Heroes, Scientists, Healers, and Inventors. An introduction for young readers by Wade Hudson. And I'll just hold it up again so everyone can see. It's a great book here, highlighting some great individuals that made some tremendous contributions to this land that we call America. And this week, I'm going to highlight Patricia Bath, Dr. Patricia Bath, an ophthalmologist. So she was, and this is the section of the book called Healers, providing treatments, finding cures. And here it has a quote from Dr. Daniel Hale Williams. And it's a picture of right here of Dr. Charles Drew, which I'm thinking about highlighting as well for the next episode. But this quote, we'll start a hospital of our own and we'll train dozens and dozens of nurses. There must be a hospital for Negroes, but not a Negro hospital. And that's a quote from Dr. Daniel Hale Williams. And one of the reasons why there has to be some recognition of the differences between us as African descendants or native descendants or darker skinned people. There has to be some acknowledgement of the differences in our biological makeup, our DNA makeup, because even though we fundamentally function the same, because of the concentration of melanin that we have, health operates in a very different way when it comes to African American people or African people or Native people or even darker Latin people. We have to acknowledge that when it comes to health matters, we all don't function the same exactly. There are some subtle and slight differences that have to be recognized when it comes to health matters, and the reason why we are more susceptible to illness, or why we're more susceptible to becoming addicted to certain medications or all medications, or even street drugs or over-the-counter drugs or prescription drugs. Uh, there are differences in our biological makeup and how we respond to certain treatments, why we respond to chemotherapy differently than other cultures, why we respond to diabetic medications different than others, why we respond to heart medications different than other cultures. There's a reason for that. And the number one reason, is because of our concentration of melanin. Nothing to fear, but there are differences. And one of the reasons why statistically we have higher numbers of illness, and I can go specifically to the big three, being diabetes, cancer, and heart disease, or hypertension, as it was once known for, or it was once called once upon a time, heart disease or hypertension. And there's a reason why we respond differently, and there's a reason why we have higher numbers of these types of illnesses. And many of the reasons why the treatments that are administered, the standard treatments that are administered, that are specifically, or more often than not, created for the suitability of Caucasian people here in America. Most medications, unless your name is Bill Gates, which he tested many of his inoculation formulas on African people because he knew he would get the most accurate results. I've said this on numerous occasions. So when it comes to health matters, we have to start being kind of careful and aware of the types of medications that we're having administered, or the medications that we are allowing ourselves to participate in, and how they affect us physically and psychologically. We need to start being more aware of what standard medication does, because standard medication was not created for our optimal health specifically. Not saying that all standard medicine is bad. I'm just suggesting that we, as African descendants, might want to take another or a different look, or look at health from a different lens. Look at health from a different lens, and see why our statistics are still so high when it comes to the standard illnesses that run rampant here in America. And it seems that for African American people, the statistical numbers are quite higher than it is for other cultures. And that includes Caucasian culture, or especially Caucasian culture. Because that's where you get the biggest contrast. It's always been that way here in America. But going back to this piece right here on Dr. Patricia Bath, and I'm just going to read here from, I'm just going to read directly from this book here, because these are short passages, but they're very informative. So I'm going to read here this as I put this on the screen here. I'm going to put her picture up because I'm going to read this directly from, I'm going to read this directly from the book here. So as you see, so Dr. Patricia Bath, and I'm just going to read right here, and you can read along as well. Dr. Patricia Bath once said, quote, "The ability to restore vision is the ultimate regard. It is a really great joy to remove eye patches the day after surgery and the patient can see again," end quote. This desire to make a difference in the lives of others is what led Patricia to pursue a career as an ophthalmology surgeon. It also motivated her to invent a very important tool for eye surgery. In 1988, Patricia received patents for a laser cataract surgery device. This instrument is used in human cataract surgery. A cataract is a cloudiness of the lens of the eye that affects millions of people around the world. And many people have cataracts, as it said, cloudiness, due to probably a degenerative state over years because of lifestyle, perhaps. Before Patricia's invention, a mechanical drill-like tool was commonly used to grind away the cataract. Her laser cataract surgery device is much more accurate and effective. Patricia was born in Harlem, New York, where her parents encouraged her where her parents encouraged her love of learning. She was an excellent student in high school. As a National Science Foundation summer student, she participated in innovative work in cancer research that gained her national exposure. She graduated from Hunter College in New York in 1964 and Howard University Medical School in 1968. After completing her medical internship at Harlem Hospital in New York, she was awarded a fellowship in ophthalmology at Columbia University. Patricia was instrumental in bringing ophthalmic surgical services to Harlem Hospital's eye clinic. She also persuaded her professors to operate on blind patients at the clinic for free. In 1974, Patricia joined the faculty of the UCLA Medical School and the King Drew Medical Center as assistant professor of surgery and ophthalmology. By 1983, Patricia was chair of the ophthalmology residency training program at UCLA King Drew, the first woman to ever hold position, or the first woman to ever hold such a position in the country. Patricia retired from the UCLA Medical Center in 1993. Since then, she has devoted much of her time to finding ways to use electronic communication to provide medical service to remote areas where healthcare is limited. She is also president of the American Association for the Prevention of Blindness, an organization she helped to found, and is professor of ophthalmology at St. George's University in Grenada. And that's Patricia, or Dr. Patricia Bath, ophthalmologist. And keep in mind that this book was written back in 2003, or was first published in 2003. Dr. Bath is no longer with us. She made her transition in 2019. But her contributions to restoring people's vision is to be commended at the highest level, because many people actually, my mother had one of these laser surgeries a few years back. And so I'm familiar with this type of procedure. So hats off to Dr. Patricia Bath, ophthalmologist extraordinaire. And she was right here at UCLA Medical Center and King Drew Medical Center, where she retired in 1993. So yes, so for all those that have had laser eye surgery, you can thank, black or white or Latin or Asian or Native American, you can thank Dr. Patricia Bath for the technology. So you won't have these barbaric medical devices grinding away on your eyeballs, right? So we can thank Dr. Patricia Bath for that and for her contributions to advancing eyesight in the health and medical field. Dr. Patricia Bath from New York all the way to here, UCLA King Drew. So hats off to her.